I'm more a writer than a video maker. I'd like to read aloud something I wrote on the subject of conscious development. Consciousness is my very being, who I am. Without consciousness, I have nothing. I am nothing. Consciousness is the very essence of meaning and significance. Without consciousness, there is no meaning or significance to life. An unconscious life is not worth living. What I refer to as consciousness is not equivalent to thinking. Consciousness is my sense of being present. My healthy waking body automatically generates my given consciousness, my rudimentary consciousness. Consciousness is my fleeting sense of being present prior to thought. I recognize that I am not fully conscious. The recognition is mental and also tacit. Mentally, in retrospect, I know that I am not fully conscious. I recognize in retrospect that I am typically identified within thinking and that I thereby lose my sense of being present, my consciousness. And tacitly, I can feel my potential for conscious growth. Within my sense of being present, there is a tacit intention to be and to grow, to unfold a latent potential. Therefore, my aim is to become more conscious. I become more conscious by paying attention. Attention is the exercise of consciousness. Attention is the means whereby consciousness develops and grows. Attention is an intentional act. Intentional action is conscious action, not action based on thought or instinct. Who I am that pays attention is the conscious being that I am. What I refer to as consciousness is essentially a special organization of subtle internal energy. Within the physical body there is a certain amount of energy. That energy is organized in various ways. For instance, sensory impressions are forms of energy, organized in a particular way. Emotions consist of a certain amount of energy organized in a certain way. Thought is a form of organized energy. Attention is the intentional act of distributing subtle internal energy. Attention begins by vesting energy into sensory awareness. My senses intensify when I pay attention. By paying attention, I increase my sense of being present. My sense of being present is a sense of myself prior to thought. My sense of being present is what I call bodily awareness. Bodily awareness is the rudimentary consciousness that is automatically generated by my healthy waking body. Bodily awareness is my sense of being a body alongside sensory impressions. It is a gestalt of my sensory impressions. A gestalt is that which is greater than the sum of its parts. Bodily awareness is produced by the sum of my sensory impressions and is not equivalent to any particular sensory impression. In our given condition, much of the subtle energy of which we consist is vested in thought. Thought, in fact, is a continuous, compulsive process. I refer to it as chronic thought. Within chronic thought, the energy of which we consist becomes contracted into a state of identification. In contrast to consciousness, identification is a sense of being separate. Symptoms of identification include anxiety, insatiability, and contention. Identification is the opposite of consciousness. When the energetic being who I am remains identified, contracted, bound by chronic thought, there is hardly any sense of being present, hardly any consciousness. Paying attention intentionally redistributes the energy of which I consist, divesting energy from contraction, divesting energy from chronic thought, and reinvesting energy into bodily awareness, thereby increasing consciousness. Within my rudimentary consciousness, there is a latent potential to pay attention. By exercising that potential, by paying attention, I become more conscious. I offer this not as an opinion or a belief, but as a science. You already possess everything you need with which to test what I have said, to either prove it or disprove it for yourselves. The question really isn't whether or not what I've said is true. The question is, can you pay attention?